Hey everybody, in this episode I will take you guys back all the way to 1988 to the legendary Mammoth Mountain Kamikaze mountain bike race. This was hands down the biggest mountain bike race back in the days, and it was a classic not only for its famous Kamikaze race but also for the trials competition. In the early days, when they still had the stage races in the mid 80s, 87, even 88 still, everybody had to do the trials. So you had to do a cross-country race, a downhill race and the trials competition, and this was the old stage race format. And then later, around the late 80s, the sport started to split up and specialize. Riders would get specialty bikes and would concentrate on one or the other discipline. And the trials in Mammoth was always a huge spectator event. It was televised by ESPN. Some of the top riders in the world would come and compete, like at this competition. Ott P and myself were battling it out. Ott and I were great friends, but we were also rivals around that time. And take a look at this event. It was also hosted by the legendary father of BMX, Scott Breithaupt, and the legendary Charlie Litsky, who was also one of the visionaries of our sport and also had deep roots in BMX, were the commentators.
Welcome to Mammoth Mountain, California, and the Swatch World Mountain Bike Championship. David Stanfield with Scott Breithaupt. We are just outside the Mammoth Mountain Inn for what is going to be called the Championship of Observed Trials here. We are just under the 9,000-foot elevation above sea level. Lots of heavy breathing going on.
And it's not just that high altitude, it's the spectators, because they're in awe as these riders are going up, over, around, and through every obstacle put before them.
And the best in the world are here, Scott.
An international field, Ott P, all the way from Barcelona, Spain, here to try to get yet another world title. His main competition is going to be Hans Rey from Switzerland. Hans is now the current U.S. national champion in the NORBA competitions just last week. And we've got a lot of top Americans. Andy Grayson and Kevin Norton are here to fly the U.S. colors in the world competition. The other three classes of competition, the junior class, 14 and unders, and then comes the stock bike class. We've got Dave Wonderly battling with Wayne Croasdale to try to make it all the way through the traps clean. And then, of course, comes our beginner class. Run what you brung. Bang the gears over the rocks first time out. It's going to be exciting.
Out on the course right now is the third member of our team, Charlie Litsky. Charlie is in one of the most difficult sections right now. Charlie?
Thanks, guys. Like at the U.S. Open or the Masters Golf Tournament, there's a gallery here, too, at the Observed Trials. They have 8 sections with a multitude of obstacles, and all the competitors go through those sections twice. And they also want to avoid that dreaded word, dab, meaning when they put their foot down, they get a point. And at the end, the guy with the least amount of dabs is the winner.
And thank you, Charlie. There is so much action here today at Mammoth Mountain for the Swatch World Mountain Bike Championship of Observed Trials. We'll get underway right after this. Stay with us. This portion of the Swatch World Mountain Bike Championships is being brought to you by GT Bicycles, redefining the new breed. And by Vans, handcrafted in America, footwear and activewear. And by Sun Tour, bicycling components, the best in bicycling. Welcome back to Mammoth Mountain, California and the World Mountain Bike Championships. 8 very difficult sections here today, and Scott, course director Tom Hillard, has made a challenge of it.
He's made a beautiful course, 8 different traps. Here we have a rider's point of view going up and over section number 1. As you notice the sign at the beginning, there's 3 different courses for the open, beginner, and junior riders. Here we've just gone through the open class. Hans Rey is our first rider up. He is national number 1 currently in the NORBA standings. His big battle is going to be with P all day long. Hans riding for Swatch and GT bicycles.
A former four-time champion out of Germany as well, living in Huntington Beach, California. Scotty clears it. Let's take a look at a replay.
Here he gets over the obstacle. First obstacle, number 1, the giant rock. He's now got to jump and land his front wheel up on to second rock and then immediately bounce onto the third. Here's Kevin Norton out of Irvine, California.
And that is the thing you don't want to do, dab. Put your foot down. 1 point, correct?
Correct. And Kevin, as you know, was the 1986 national champion in the NORBA trials competition. A fine competitor in his own right.
They call it the open class, but we are watching the pros right now. There are 3 other classes. Here's a replay of Kevin Norton.
Again, it looks like his back tire slips off the edge of the first obstacle, the rock, and he goes down with an unfortunate dab. Section number 2.
And this is a tough one, and it can be very slick, especially this morning. There was a little bit of dew on these timbers.
How true. And as you'll notice, the height here, you're looking at 10 to 12 feet overall height, and then they have to ride a single log back down to the bottom and clear this little marker right here to your right, and that is a clean trap.
And here is the champion, or the world champion, P from Spain. He's 17 years old, Barcelona, Spain, and he is favored to win this. His competitor, Hans Rey, we saw earlier, and he hopes to clear this trap.
He exudes confidence. As you'll see, he's just very, very technical. He makes it look so easy as he picks out where he's going to land his bike next. This guy can do phenomenal stuff on a bicycle.
A gallery of about 4,000 interested spectators on hand, and he makes it to the top. Open class competitor, one of the top pros.
You'll notice the width, David, of that log on top is almost equidistant with the wheelbase of the bicycle. Pretty amazing feat to be able to circle at the top.
This can get wet and wild. This is our third section.
This gives you a pretty good idea of the downhill slope, where you have to use both brakes very hard here as you drop rock to grass, all the way down into this stream bed, and then have to propel yourself up and over rocks to get into the final turn and roll out section.
Hans Rey on section 3 right now. And again, there's really no time limit. He can take as long as he wants.
There are 8 traps, as you know, 2 hours total time to complete all 8 traps twice each. So the only time limit, as we've said, is 2 hours for all 8 traps twice.
But in terms of clearing the trap, they can take quite a while.
Yes, they'll set up and balance and really pick out the spot, the exact little crevice in each rock that they want to go through.
Here's the replay. Hans, it looks like he cleared it, using his brakes very diligently there, and he's got low tire pressure.
Very low tire pressure. Hans jumped onto the last obstacle here with a lot of confidence. Again, about 12 pounds tire pressure. He's holding onto those motorcycle-type levers here, holding onto those brakes very tightly. He cleans trap 3.
We'll be right back with more of the Observe World Trials right after this, sponsored by Vans.
Don't let its beauty deceive you. This off-road animal is just waiting to strike. It may appear docile at rest, but on the attack, it's deadly. GT, redefining the new breed. For a free Altera catalog, write GT Bicycle, 17800 Gothard Street, Huntington Beach, California, 92647.
This portion of the World Mountain Bike Championships are being brought to you by Sun Tour.
And now, David, it's time for the Sun Tour Tech Tip Update.
Hi, we're here today to talk about the powertrain on a mountain bike. This is how your body applies its energy to the ground. This particular bike has a Suntour indexing system with 18 oval gears. Indexing means that the gears can click from one to another, not like the old conventional type where you had to kind of find the gear. They'll click from one to another. This helps very much when you use all 18 gears. It's very important to use all 18 gears as the ride changes. Also, the gears are oval, as you notice. Oval is, so when you press down on the stroke, you get a smaller chain ring, but as you come back up, the chain ring is wider. That way you get more inches per travel per revolution. It's important to keep your shifter cables adjusted properly and lubed well. This will give you hours of great riding.
This Tech Tip Update has been brought to you by Suntour.
The open class will always be
Ready for a thrill ride? The GT Bicycle Trials Cam, trying to make it up and over the log jam.
Thrill ride isn't the word for it. This is craziness. Hans Rey strapped a camera pack on his back and then a helmet camera upon his head, of course. Now he's going to bounce his way to the top, 12 feet up, of the infamous log ride.
Take a look at his shadow. You can see the camera up top.
You can see him bouncing here as he's going up and down, trying to gain momentum to jump his way up to that top log.
And the diameter of that top log, it looks very narrow.
It's only the width of the wheelbase of that bicycle, so there's no room for error. But here he's going to hot dog a little bit, show us the crowd as he looks around before he sends himself down back to the grass base.
Very diligent use of the brakes.
Very.
Now, the POV continues, and this looks like we've got another unique obstacle here, a section up and over a gondola car, two of them.
And notice these wood planks bouncing and weaving, David. These are really not supported by anything except for at the ends. And Hans has had to go up and over. Now he'll go down and then across the little river stream again.
Now back to the action. Andy Grayson, last year's champion out of Boulder, Colorado.
And here, Hillard's imagination has gone wild. Tom Hillard has designed a strange obstacle here over two of Mammoth Mountain's gondola cars, again with the wobbling planks. Grayson makes it look easy. Notice as he kicks that back end around, they seem to have just a sixth sense with these bicycles.
It's not over yet.
No, this is about a 4-foot drop into the water to get across this little stream here.
most unfortunate circumstance, and we're going to see if we can here. Keep an eye out for a bicycle.
And he clears it.
And here we have an example of how difficult this can be. This is his first time in the open class. This is Scott Robinson out of Yorba Linda, California. We've seen him before on the Action Cycle Sports Series, a top competitor on the local level, but here he's against world-class caliber. You'll notice he's already got a dab heading into section number 3, the log jam.
Keep an eye out for it. It's a white Diamondback, 16.5-inch Dior XT equipped. Thank you. Keith's also looking at for a bicycle for the downhill tomorrow. He will be
a very difficult course here, and earlier we spoke with NORBA's D. Rambo.
He's over here right now by the judges.
There's no question that this trial set up by Tom Hillard of Specialized is worthy of a world championship. The venue we have here, the setting, the atmosphere is just outstanding. Not only for the riders, but for the spectators that have never seen trials before. The courses set up here encompass man-made objects, natural obstacles. It's really a neat obstacle course on 2 wheels, and I think everybody that's seen it here are really enjoying it.
Back to the action now. We saw the Open Pros earlier on Specialized type bikes. Now Dave Wonderly is on a stock bike.
Yes, this is a standard 18-speed mountain bike. This one in particular is a GT factory bike ridden by Dave Wonderly. And he, thus far, has gone through all 8 traps one time. Once he completes this trap, he will have had 0 dabs thus far, but he's got to complete other 8 traps to go.
Now this is a trials bike, Scott.
With Hans Rey on section number 2, heading up the big log jam. Notice the intensity as he's looking at the line he's going to take to get to the next piece of the obstacle.
Now with this bike, he's got a very low seat, a little bit more room to work from the knees up, and he's got only one gear, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And you'll notice the large amount of area that's open between his front wheel and his crank and pedal area. This is to clear all his obstacles. A much taller fork than a standard mountain bike.
Here's a replay of Hans Rey.
The most difficult part of any obstacle is that first initial jump, and he's got it easy.
Over to section 7. Here's Otp, the 17-year-old out of Barcelona, Spain, the current world champion.
The Wonder Man. 4 whole letters in his entire name. This guy, look at that, a span of 36 inches between those rocks, and here he's just going to hop his way up to the top.
Thus far, he's had a perfect day, no dabs.
Another clean for Otp.
Scott, there's a junior class rider, and that's much more than a dab, isn't it?
We'll see here in the replay, he's bouncing his way, trying to get more momentum to the top. He takes the maximum 5 points, a fall, in trap number 5.
Back to Dave Wonderly now. Wonderly through the rocks on his stock mountain bike.
Here he's in his second round of 8. He's in trap number 2, I believe. Heading through, makes it look easy on that stock 18-speeder.
He's got his water bottle with him.
A lot of broken gears out here today. Dave Wonderly for GT Bicycles, making him proud. Hans Rey, making it look easy over the gondola again. He's in his second round of 8. He has had 1 dab so far. He got caught showing off a little bit over on log section number 2, trap 8, and lost a dab.
Scott, a tough obstacle here, this rock, whether you're on a bicycle or not, but then you've got to jump the stream.
Well, he'll have to go to his back wheel, balance himself, and then lunge forward, landing the front wheel across the stream.
Hans Rey, let's take a look at that one more time.
Again, to the back wheel, and then across the stream with the front wheel.
We've got much more World Mountain Bike Championships from Mammoth Mountain, California, brought to you by GT Bicycles. Stay with us.
Don't let its beauty deceive you. This off-road animal is just waiting to strike. It may appear docile at rest, but on the attack, it's deadly. GT, redefining the new breed. For a free Altera catalog, write GT Bicycle, 17800 Gothard Street, Huntington Beach, California, 92647.
By the Mongoose Trick Riding Team.
Welcome back to Mammoth Mountain, California. This portion of the World Mountain Bike Championship brought to you by Vans, handcrafted in America. Trials competition, Otp, Barcelona, Spain, up and over the gondolas.
He's in round number 2. On his 8 traps, he's gone clean so far. Look at that, a little 180 helicopter spin to the rock.
He's attacking the course.
He's got it licked. He's showboating now.
The world champion, just 17 years old. And he's cleaned another section. Here's a replay of Ott P from Barcelona, Spain. He's making these sections look a little easy.
He's very aggressive. You'll notice he pedaled all the way across the gondola top, making the wood wobble. Here he makes a stop right in front of a cameraman. He's going to throw a 180 spin to go down the decline ramp. And then at the end of that, he throws in another hot dog 180 spin. The master of rock hopping, Ott P.
Very aggressive. And again, they didn't practice these sections earlier. There was no practice prior to competition.
Kevin Norton, 1986 U.S. National Champion. He's making it look easy through section number 4. Body English at its max. Here he's got a lunge forward, rock to rock. And he cleans it so far.
One more time, Kevin Norton with a wet rear tire up and over the rocks, kind of a bouncy hoppity hop through the rock garden, but he cleans it.
A total lunge forward.
More action when we continue. Brought to you by Sun Tour. Stay with us.
Don't let its beauty deceive you. This off-road animal is just waiting to strike. It may appear docile at rest, but on the attack, it's deadly. GT, redefining the new breed. For a free Altera catalog, write GT Bicycle, 17800 Gothard Street, Huntington Beach, California, 92647.
Welcome back to the Swatch World Mountain Bike Championships, this portion being brought to you by GT Bicycles.
Back to the stock class. This is Toby Henderson, who we've seen in dual challenge and cross-country competitions. Cleaning the gondola trap thus far.
Toby goes for speed, it looks like.
He's very aggressive.
Scott, this is Hans Rey, and this is where he had a dab earlier.
Yes, right at this point, he was showboating and spun a helicopter for the crowd and lost a dab in his round number 1. Round number 2, he's clean so far. He's currently running second. Notice Ott P up there walking the course, looking at it. This is the second log section. They have to climb up the 3-foot log, jump up it, and then, as you'll see Ott P here, Ott was unhappy with the way he had himself positioned, so he wanted to start over. As you'll notice there, he asked the judge if he could go backwards and start over. He's got to get back up to this top and then jump across these two. And notice again the diameter of these logs is very narrow. Here he aggressively attacks it. And now instead of riding down that log, it's showboat time.
And a nice move for Ott P from Barcelona, Spain. He clears yet another section. Ott P, his final section, the 17-year-old showboating here, Scott.
0 dabs, 8 courses, twice each. Ott P.
Yeah, they definitely look sexy.
It's time now for the bands. Victory of the week, David. And our victor this week is Dave Wonderly in the stock bike class. 8 traps, twice each, 0 dabs, just like his counterpart, Ott P.
Dave Wonderly comes in first. Wayne Crosdell with 1 dab. Kazuhiko Okazaki with 3 dabs. Results in the junior class, it was Sean Sturkin, the 13-year-old from Sacramento, California, winning that class. And the beginner class, David Orhot with 5 dabs, a great job on his behalf. Results in the open class, Ott P 0 dabs, Hans Rey with 2 dabs, and Andy Grayson, last year's champion, 6 dabs. Outstanding performance. And Scott, next week, round number 4.
Wild-Eyed Kamikaze, the downhill event. 700 riders out here, David. They'll be competing on a 4.2-mile course, 2,100 feet of vertical drop, so you know they're going to be attaining some major speeds on these mountain bikes downhill.
The Swatch World Mountain Bike Championship Kamikaze Downhill is next week. For Charlie Litsky and Scott Breithaupt, I'm David Stanfield. So long from Mammoth Mountain, California. The Swatch World Mountain Bike Championships has been brought to you by Sun Tour, bicycle components the best in bicycling, and by Vans, handcrafted in America, footwear and activewear. And by GT Bicycles, redefining the new breed. This has been an ESPN presentation in association with LM Productions.